The Epstein Files vote. It goes down today in Congress. How is the vote going to turn out? Plus, family infighting. How is the feud between President Trump and Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene impacting the MAGA movement? Also ahead, your health care. House GOP committee leaders are going to hold listening sessions to get a plan ready. So when could we see an actual proposal?
Welcome to American Sunrise.
All eyes will be on Capitol Hill today as the House is set to vote on the discharge petition to release all of the Epstein files. President Trump calling on Republicans to vote for that measure, saying there's nothing to hide. 47 also saying that it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics. The O'Keefe Media Group is reporting that if the files are in fact released, the names of any Republicans would be redacted, while the names of Democrats that are named in that file would stay public.
I do see for the first time in a long time, Terrence, that we're going to have all of Democrats and all of Republicans coming together to vote on the release of these files. Now, that vote happens later today. I know at 9 o'clock this morning, at the Triangle outside the Capitol, there is a press conference with some of the victims there and some of the supporters, Thomas Massey and others that support this discharge petition. As Congressman Alford spelled out, the reason why they didn't go for that voice-recorded vote back last week is they want to drag this thing out. So since some things are under investigation, there's only so much that can come out of that report, so keep an eye on that as well.
Well, let's get to today's Bible verse, because that's what actually matters more than any of this. It is John 7, verse 38. He who believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. I love that. I love any verses about water, because you guys know that's where I'd like to be 24/7.
There's a legal way to bring workers in to this country. But I think a lot of the industry likes the cheap, illegal labor. Look, I'll say it again, I've done this since 1984. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that hire an illegal alien out of the goodness of their heart. They hire them because they work them harder, pay them less, and undercut their competition who actually has U.S. citizens working for them. We are increasing worksite enforcement. It's the right thing to do, not only to hold the employers responsible, not only protect the companies that have U.S. citizen employees, but the number one place we find victims of trafficking are work sites, and that's why we're increasing also. Do you know entering the grounds of the Vatican illegally, the penalties for that is much worse than the penalties for entering this country illegally? So, they want to protect the Vatican. I want to protect the United States. It is a crime to enter this country illegally. And what the Catholic leadership needs to understand, President Trump has illegal immigration down 96%. When 96% less people are coming, making that dangerous journey, how many aliens aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't sex trafficked? How many pounds of fentanyl is not getting to this country, killing Americans? President Trump's policies are saving lives of just not Americans, but of illegal aliens themselves. During the 4 years of Biden administration, we watched millions of illegal aliens give these cartels their life savings to cross the border. Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey, historic record. A quarter million Americans died from drug overdoses, fentanyl, historic record. Catholic charities, under Biden administration, they made billions of dollars helping illegal migration to this hemisphere. Catholic Church needs to concentrate on Catholic Church. They got some improvement they can do with that church. I wish they concentrate on that and leave border security to President Trump, whose success has been unprecedented in the thousands of lives he's saving every month.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Trump is in the process of building his own parliamentary force. Tom Nichols, a retired professor at the U.S. Naval War, told him, quote, he is acclimating people to the notion that the military is his private army, unconstrained by law, unconstrained by norms, unconstrained by American traditions.
The number of student absences from its campuses today, they say nearly 21,000 students were not in school today. That accounts for 15% of students enrolled across the district. CMS officials are not saying whether the mass absences are tied to the Border Patrol enforcement operations across the city.
Leading up to the election, this was not a state secret that Trump was going to use authoritarian tactics. We know what happened on January 6th. We know what happened in this first term. And then we know what he said during the campaign itself. It's the politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. It's the use of the paramilitary force. It's the attack on the law firms. It's attack on the universities. It's attack on the media. We're in the early stages of a police state, sort of soft authoritarianism. And I'm worried that we can drop the modifiers pretty soon.
As Trump lands in Milwaukee for the convention, one of the arguments that Tucker Carlson had made was that if you pick somebody like Marco Rubio that the establishment likes, they're going to assassinate you. He made this case before Butler. They're gonna kill you so this guy becomes president. The establishment hates J.D. Vance as much as they hate you. That's the guy you should have.
But we haven't had a president with this degree of power and with this amount of unchecked power before. And as you said, the collapse of institutions across the board is really frightening. And that includes the media, which is somewhat surprising to me. I think people are afraid, they're scared, they're cutting deals, so he doesn't target them.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize is there's a real divide between the ordinary evangelical in the pews going to church every Sunday and where their leadership is. So if you look at where evangelicals are politically, they are extremely conservative. They were Donald Trump's strongest supporters. There's been a really strong effort over the last decade, 15 years, to try to move that all-important evangelical voting bloc to the left. The Soros Foundation, Open Society, like Mark Zuckerberg's foundation, the Clinton Foundation, the Rockefellers, pretty much all of the usual suspects, pouring money into these evangelical front groups to try to move evangelicals to the left. It's been incredibly effective in the leadership class. So those dangled carrots have really done their work. They're all espousing something that's largely known as the third way, which means that Christians shouldn't get political. We should stand outside of politics. We shouldn't align with the left or right. But what it functionally means is we punch right and we coddle left. And so that's what you see from the evangelical leadership class. Third way, it was really, I don't know if he coined the term, but it was a philosophy really promoted by the late theologian Tim Keller, who was incredibly influential in evangelical Protestant circles, third way approach. And so it's a method of evangelism that says in order to save lost people, and for some reason these idealized lost people are always progressives on the left, what Christians need to do is not take a political position and publicly align with either the right or the left. They should be sort of politically agnostic in order to draw people to Christ. It's not what he lived. Because while he sort of famously was not very outspoken about issues like abortion or marriage or transgenderism or the sort of things that are very clear biblically, he did take public positions opposing, for example, President Trump's border policies.
thoughts are the MAGA movement's the strongest it's ever been right now. I mean, listen, I won the New York Times #1 bestseller by hundreds of thousands of books. It wasn't even damn close, right? It means that people are pissed off. It means that people understand what's happening. And every single day I'm getting letters about the book saying, I'm so glad I read that. It opened my eyes to exactly who these people are and the game that they play and the lows that they're willing to stoop to otherwise destroy your family. The New York Times did not want to make me #1, and they did not want to make me #1 and put me on that list, you know, many weeks over. That's who all these people are, and America understands it, and that's why this went to #1, hands down, bar none, and that's why my father's the strongest he's ever been, and I couldn't be more proud of the guy. I mean, he had absolute backbone, absolute fortitude. No one could have went through what this man went through.
The Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
About H-1B visas. You said that there were certain talents that Americans needed to outsource to foreign workers.
We don't make chips too much here anymore, but we are going to be in a period of a year. We're going to have a big portion of the chip market. But we have to train our people how to make chips.
President Trump, through 212F, has put a $100,000 fee on new H-1Bs. We're already seeing a dramatic change in the processing of these visas as a result of that. The Department of Labor has launched Project Firewall to fight illegal discrimination against Americans and illegal abuses of the H-1B program. You also have the highest standard of vetting that have ever been in place in new visas, including foreign student visas. The State Department has revoked tens of thousands of visas, and they're just getting started with tens of thousands of more. We have a new focus on denaturalizations. We have a new focus on cutting back on welfare tourism and welfare migration. And of course, you've seen, again, for the first time in over half a century, net negative migration to this country.
To the employers who employ and attract a lot of these illegal aliens that come in and steal American jobs, we're going to focus on those American companies as well.
I'm seeing reporting now that Staten Island wants to secede from New York City because Mamdani does not have the confidence of even his own city.
We have a broken healthcare system, and unfortunately, Republicans have decided to break it even further. And this relates.
My pledge to every family and every small business is that I will not rest until you are richer, stronger, more successful, happier. That begins with making America. We have to do, the word is affordable. And affordable should be our word, not theirs.
Chuck Schumer has said that he will immediately get this bill on the Senate floor, and he will work with Thune to ensure that happens when or if this passes the House here in about 30 minutes. Speaker Johnson had a press conference this morning as well. He said there's not enough protections in the current bill for the victims, and this also could lead to, sexual type of content being released that maybe the public doesn't want to see. We are expecting a unanimous vote as of now from Democrats and Republicans on both sides. This is a clear effort by the Democrats, and now that Trump has said, you know what, release them, now what are the Democrats doing? They're silent. Epstein visited the Bill Clinton White House 17 times, Terrence. Those are the type of people this is going to implicate, not the Republicans, not Donald Trump.
And I want to thank you because you've agreed to invest $600 billion into the United States. And because he's my friend, he might make it $1 trillion, but I'm going to have to work on him. And that means investments in plants, in companies, money on Wall Street. And what it really means for everybody that really counts is jobs.
We believe in the future of the United States of America. We believe in what you're doing, Mr. President, really creating a lot of good things and good foundation to create more economical growth, more business in America for the world peace. Today and tomorrow, we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, in AI, in rare earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the $600 billion will be $1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing, it will facilitate that. And
I like that very much. If you didn't see potential in the U.S., you wouldn't be doing that.
Definitely.
You don't want to lose money.
As you said, Mr. President, it's the most hottest country in the planet. But what you're creating is not about opportunity today. It's about also long-term opportunity in the United States of America that will affect American economy positively in the next coming decades. Preparing the right foundation of emerging technologies, that's a game changer for America in a good way, and we want to be part of it.
Your Royal Highness, The U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? Who are you with? And the same to you, Mr. President.
No, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news, one of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Just yes, Mr. President, allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or nothing illegal way, and it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia. We are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords.
Yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. We want them to coexist peacefully in the region.
He does not sleep much, and I don't sleep much. I think we have the same schedule. We're thinking about our countries, and if you sleep a lot and you're president, we just had one that slept more than any president. He broke every record. He sleeps all the time, during the day, during the night, on the beach. The only guy could fall asleep on the beach with the press watching. No, he's not a sleeper. I'm not a sleeper. We talk at night. We can talk. I can call him almost any time. When you love your job, when you love your country, and when you're in a position like we are, future king, highly respected, crown prince, and in my case, president, you're thinking about your country. You're thinking about making America great again. We're thinking about keeping Saudi Arabia strong and vital, and in a pretty tough part of the world, tricky part, right? Tricky part. A lot of tricky people. He thinks about his country, and I think about my country. I don't want to sleep. When you invest $1 trillion, that's national security for us too, because it creates jobs, it creates a lot of things. I think a big part of that is also the fact that tariffs are in play. But even beyond tariffs, that's a real ally that will do that. Creates a lot of power for the United States.
All presidents.
Does Trump blow them all away?
No, it's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. Remember Biden? He travels for 20 hours, gets out, and he gives a fist bump. No. When you get out of the plane and you got the future king and the man who's one of the most respected people in the world, you shake his hand. You don't give him a fist bump, right? We don't want to ask you about that, but I can't imagine you were thrilled. You were like a little bit surprised.
You started the interviews for the Fed chair?
Yes.
Who have you interviewed?
I think I already know my choice.
Who is it?
Well, I liked him, but he's not going to take the job. He refused. You like Treasury better, right?
Much better, sir.
So we are talking to various people. I'd love to get the guy currently in there out right now, but people are holding me back. He's done a terrible job, hurting housing a little bit. The truth is, we've been so successful, we've blown past his interest rate stupidity. He's been wrong. That's why I call him too late. He's too late. Jerome Too Late Powell. He was recommended to me by a guy that made a bad choice. Despite that, it's having very little impact because we have all of these things happening. But it has an impact on housing to a certain extent. He's a fool. He's a stupid man. But we have some very good people.
Why wait for Congress to release the Epstein Files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. You could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein Files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. And I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein Files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. People are wise to your hoax, and ABC's your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something. I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep, the fund guy, was with him all the time. What's his name? Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press, they don't get any news, and you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you.
He even got a handshake, a double handshake out of that when he mentioned that amount. But obviously President Trump very happy to see a lot of foreign investments flowing into this country. This is just another example. I think it shows, Terrence, the friendship between the two countries. I mean, normally behind me is if you saw a foreign state visiting, there'd be color guard and things like that. They went above and beyond the welcoming here, doing it on the South Lawn, with F-35 jet flying over. We had horse in front of the motorcade. You have just a big pageantry here for this Crown Prince. And obviously the Crown Prince stepping up in the Oval Office, announcing a little bit more money flowing into the United States.
President Trump saying that Saudi Arabia will be buying F-35 fighter jets, which of course are American made.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king.
Tonight, President Trump now saying he is not ruling out putting U.S. boots on the ground in Venezuela. As the largest, most advanced aircraft carrier in the world, the USS Gerald Ford arrives in the Caribbean.
I don't rule out anything. We just have to take care of Venezuela.
At least 15,000 U.S. forces now deployed in the Caribbean. The U.S. saying it will designate the Cartel de los Soles, a drug trafficking group it says is run by the illegitimate regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, a foreign terrorist organization, an accusation Maduro denies.
A terrible first for the world. A Chinese-backed AI tool hacked about 30 places, including some financial institutions.
China used Anthropic, which is a U.S.-based tool,
The only reason we know about this is because it's U.S.-based, and Anthropic disclosed the fact that its Claude model, its large language model, had been hacked and used for these nefarious purposes.
The federal appeals court ruled a school district in Ohio could not punish students who do not call a transgender student by their preferred pronoun.
I feel like Epstein has been in the back of everyone's minds for so long, and the uniparty, the establishment, has been wanting us to forget about it, and it just keeps coming back up because Epstein is representative of all of the rot. Who was he working for? Intelligence angle here, whether that's United States or foreign.
It's clearly passed, whatever. It's clearly through the House. The Senate is set to change the bill because this does also have to pass the Senate. And so now there's going to be questions whether or not this will be able to make it through the Senate. Thune will seek to amend the bill to address privacy concerns.
Democrats have pretended that they are on the side of disclosure, and they now suddenly care about Jeffrey Epstein. Let's be honest, there are lots of Democrats who are implicated in these files as well. Many powerful Democrats who don't want them to come out.
America's Voice Live starts now.
The vote 427 to 1, not even close. Democrats continue to say that Donald Trump is afraid of the release of these files, but he has already said, I'll sign it as soon as it gets to my desk. Doesn't seem too afraid.
This one House rep that voted against it was Clay Higgins of Louisiana. Now, he has said from the get-go that he was against this, and he sided with Mike Johnson that there is not enough wording and proper things in the bill to protect these victims, their family members, and innocent people's lives that could really, be affected by this. Because this bill passed with over a 2/3 majority, if the Senate also passes with over a 2/3 majority, there is absolutely no veto power for this bill, which means it has to go through. But President Trump has said that he will sign this bill regardless. This Senate vote could take anywhere from the week after Thanksgiving until possibly, beginning of 2026, because they will most likely try to make amendments. Like Speaker Johnson said, he wants to add some things into that bill.
James Comer on the floor of the House today pointing out that Hakeem Jeffries and his campaign took massive amounts of money from Jeffrey Epstein during the 2013 election cycle. I think Democrats are going to be sorry that they pushed this so hard. It seems to me maybe they've walked into a trap.
This is what Democrats do, Steve. They're running, they're hitting the ground hard, and then the second something happens, they go silent. They like to fight, they like to talk, but where's the action following it? They say they're for the releasing of these files, but Steve, they're only here for the releasing of these files if it implicates Trump. And it's very clear that these files are not going to implicate Trump. If anything, they're going to implicate the same people that are being worshipped by the Democrat Party, like Schumer and Jeffries. Democrats weren't doing this for the victims. They were doing this to harm Trump. And the Republicans put the victims first and are going to ensure that their voices are heard.
Stacey Plaskett represents the United States Virgin Islands in Congress. She does not have a vote, but she's there to represent the VI. And she was shown to be getting text messages directly from Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing in the House back in 2019. He was telling her what questions to ask, how to follow up, and then talk to her afterwards. It's a remarkable scenario. How can she possibly remain in Congress? If that was a Republican, they would have been out of the House the next day. Stacey Plaskett has gone silent on this, but we've all seen it now. We've seen the exchange between him and her while she's at the microphone. It is a remarkable thing to see happen.
The fact that he had any say into the questions being asked to a witness that was called in front of the Senate or the House, whichever one it may be, is absolutely absurd. And I truly do think Mike Johnson will address this. I don't think this woman will have this job for much longer, to be quite honest with you. It's unacceptable.
When the Democrats always say these are fishing boats, doesn't look like any fishing boat I've ever seen. I don't remember any captain bringing out 55-gallon drums, 25 or 30 of them, in a boat with 1,600 horsepower on the back end going at high rates of speed across the open ocean. I've never seen that on a fishing boat.
These are known drug boats. They are following known drug routes coming out of Venezuela. And of course, there's confirmation of what they're carrying before this type of military action is taken.
I hear people on the left and in the media saying, well, they're not transporting fentanyl, it's just cocaine. Oh, just cocaine. I mean, how many overdoses does cocaine and crack result in when it comes to people that die in this country? I mean, as if that's okay.
Well, they don't understand the data because they don't care to solve the problem on the left. And the data suggests that the overwhelming majority of fentanyl deaths are accidental because it's fentanyl being mixed in with other drugs.